I'm loving it.
So this video was supposed to be about my new editing PC that I just built recently, but the production quality of that wasn't good at all and I wasn't satisfied with the final video. So I decided to make this video, which is going to show you how I shot and created my own Instagram McDonald's advertisement just using my iPhone.
The way that we approach that that whole film handheld, we didn't really rehearse until we had the camera up. I mean, I just started shooting.
So the entire setup for this shoot is really not that great. Okay, so this is the setup. It's pretty basic. One big light here, as that's the only light that I have. I would like more than one light because this is supposed to be flat lighting, but that's the only one I have. Wooden table, been using that for all of my projects. Tripod here, Amazon Basics. It's a cheaper tripod, and I don't have a white backdrop, so I'm just using the wall for now. So the main thing that I wanted for this advertisement was a flat look. So I didn't want much shadows, and it was very hard to do that since I only had one light. So it's very hard to fill the entire scene with loads of lights. So I had to rely on some natural light. Had to rely a lot on the editing process as well, which I'll show you later on. The first problem I've encountered is that this isn't white, and I want a pure white look in the advertisement. So I think I got an idea. You know what, guys, I've just realized something. You know when some people say they're going to do a project and they say they're on a budget and they say that you can do it too, then they suddenly whip out a Sony a7 III and like £500 lights. This is seriously on a budget. Like, this isn't even, I mean, excluding the phone, this is like £40. It looks like one sheet of paper is not going to be enough because I can still see through it when I'm taking photos and videos, so I'm gonna have to double layer it. I've also made sure that there's no more gaps in the paper, and it looks pretty good. You can't really see any of the table, so increasing the ISO should cover up some of these faint lines that you can see in between the paper. And I'll also, when I'm taking the picture, I'll also increase the ISO to make sure that there's no sort of marks that come up. So I did have to move the light around. I tried a more top-down lighting style, but then I realized that the front wasn't really getting any light. So I brought the light back down, so it's more like straight on. And that seemed to be the best way to make it look like a flat lighting style. I also forgot to mention, if you want to see my Instagram, I'll put it in the description below. I post here and there, and I actually posted this picture, and I also showed the sort of behind the scenes, and I'll do a lot more, I'll post a lot more things on Instagram, so if you want to see more stuff, make sure you follow. So I found the best position for the light, and it's quite close to the camera, as you can tell, but it's at a 45-degree angle of the camera. And I try to get as close as I can to the paper or the wall. I'm literally using up all of the extension, as you can see, and I think it's not too bad. I did try and put the light up here, but I do think this is the best way I can get the most light in this scene with this one light. So this is so far how it looks like. I've just put my microphone here just for now. And as you can see, it does look pretty bad. There's like so many shadows over there. You can see like lines over here from the paper. If I increase the ISO, obviously it starts to clip and everything just is blown out now. So the idea is to sort of just try and get as bright as possible without clipping, and then make the rest of the image the same color so it looks even overall. and I'll show you how I do that in the editing process. Alright, so now that I am happy with the paper, the lighting and how everything looks, I think we can replace the microphone. We can replace the microphone with the McDonald's bag, and it should look pretty good. So there was a couple problems when I was shooting with the McDonald's bag. The first problem was that the things inside of it, such as the boxes, it wasn't actually showing on the top of the bag, and that meant it looked like it was sort of empty, and that's not what I wanted. So I used the cup holders that came with our order, and I got some sellotape and I stuck it to the side of the bag, and I kind of put it towards the top of the bag, and then I sort of sit the boxes on top of that, and then it looks like the bag is much more full than it actually is, and that's the effects that I was sort of going for. So where most of the work had to happen was in the editing part. I used SnapSeed, and SnapSeed is like, not many people know it, but it's like an extremely powerful tool if you have like a phone and you do like phone photography. It just lets you basically edit however you like the photo to be, or whatever you want the photo to look like. SnapSeed should be able to do that. I had to use the exposure brush, and a lot of the brush tools were used. Basically the McDonald's bag was like casting a huge shadow behind it, so I had to use an exposure tool and just brush on those parts, but I didn't want to use it like too heavily, otherwise the shadows just look unnatural. So I kept some of that, and when I was actually shooting with the camera, I had to make sure that the ISO was really high, and that was just to make sure that everything just looks really bright. I had to reduce the contrast a little bit just so everything looks a little more flat, and I made it a tiny bit warm on the white balance just to give it like a sort of like, I guess, a happy feeling, and it worked. It was quite good. And then finally I just added a little bit of text at the top, and I changed the opacity, and I made it red, and it just gave it that look that just, you know, that McDonald's is now open and you see the bag, and it's a flat look, and that is exactly what I wanted, and I think I achieved it pretty well. As you can tell, I don't have a crazy lighting setup. I only have one light, and in all honesty it's a pretty crap setup. You kind of have to learn with what you've got, and you know, you kind of got to master it before you can blame on your gear. So that's why I'm, you know, I'm taking very small investments. I'm not going crazy, and I'm just kind of working with what I got, and this is what I came up with. And I'm obviously using an iPhone, which isn't a DSLR. It's not like a camera or anything like that. I still was able to create some pretty good shots. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. That would be greatly appreciated. And I'm going to be doing more videos about filmmaking and photography, mainly with my iPhone, since I don't own a camera. So if you're interested in that sort of stuff, then please subscribe, and if you didn't like the video, please dislike it, and other than that, I'll see you next time.